We Are New Zealand is a book born from the aftermath of the Christchurch terror attack, and Michelle's back on the line with me now. Tell me about your fellow co-editors, Michelle.
Well, I've worked with James Norcliffe before. He and I edited a volume in 2018 that was published by Canterbury University Press, and that's a collection of small stories. It's called Bonsai, and a collection of small stories in New Zealand, and we edited that along with Frankie McMillan, who is another Christchurch writer. Then Paula, you've already introduced Paula. She's well-known throughout New Zealand and has incredible writing and editing experience. She's spent time abroad as well on many fellowships, as has James. And then the other editor who's very important to mention is David Eggleton. And as you know, he's our current poet laureate, and he came on board with this volume as the art editor because his relationship to both the writing and the art world is long-standing and it runs very deep. And his contribution has just made this book so beautiful because as the art editor, it was on his shoulders to bring together this visual representation of these voices, and it just has extraordinary art in it from artists who we know who are very, very famous in New Zealand down to a 13-year-old girl who did a drawing right after the Christchurch mosque attack.
There are 248 pages in this beautiful book. Every one of those pages has significance to the person that wrote that. Do you think New Zealanders are very good at expressing themselves through writing about tragedy?
Well, I do. I think that New Zealand, again, it comes back to that thing that I feel is very important, that idea of dialogue, that idea of conversing with ourselves and with our past. And, you know, you see that in the way that we set up our museums. You see that in exhibits. You see that in the sort of public recollection around, for example, Anzac Day. I mean, this kind of thing, it's an ongoing thing, and we create a kind of a ritual in the way that we recognize either heroes or moments of tragedy, but it's important that we do that because, again, every time we revisit an issue, we talk about it or look at it in a new way. And I think that's what the people in this book are doing.
Yeah, the cover itself is absolutely beautiful and quite intriguing. I'm trying to work out what the little round circly things are. What are they?
Oh, I just love that image, and we all decided rather unanimously, the editors, that would be the cover of the book when it came in. It is a art installation done by a Dunedin-based artist named Claire Benon, and she is also an immigrant herself. That's important to note. And although she's lived here many, many years, those round images are tea lights that she arranged. It's 51 tea lights, and she lit them, and they're burnt down. And they're arranged in a circle like that, and it's 51 lights representing, of course, the 51 people from the mosque attack.
I was trying to work that out. Now you've said that, I can see it completely. It doesn't work on the radio, but it does look like, they look like rivets, the heads of rivets. But you're right, an aerial shot of burnt-out tea lights. It is beautiful. Yeah. So, look, most of us, let's be honest, when we hear about tragedy, we're always really glad that it didn't happen on our doorstep. But this did. What will New Zealanders get from reading your new book?
I think that they will understand that that was an event that cannot be isolated. It's not about us and them. It's not about really a simplistic pointing of fingers. It's about looking at who we are and how we accept the many, many voices that make up New Zealand society. And there's a piece by a young woman named Rahaf. She's from Syria. She's a former refugee, arrived in New Zealand in 2017 with her family. And she's now a university student at the University of Otago. And she writes quite simply about it. She says, I think it does not take more than a few questions to figure out who we are. But how would people know without asking? And I feel like that's just such a great distillation of what's important. You need to ask the questions, and then you need to listen to each other. So I think that's what people will get from this book. And again, I love the way she phrases that because it's so simple, but it's so true.
How surreal would that be to come from a war-torn country to what is regarded as a safe country to live through what she's lived through here?
Yes, I think that is the experience of many immigrants to this country, many people who came as refugees who are now making their life. I mean, I think something like this is a wake-up call always. And I hope what sets New Zealand apart is how we deal with it in the aftermath. And I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah,
that we are doing it in a way that does set us apart.
I'm speaking with Michelle Elvy, one of the co-editors of Ko Aotearoa Tātou, We Are New Zealand. You can win this book by texting 3920 with your name and address. It's absolutely beautiful. It's the kind of book you'll want to read and then pass on to others. Just use the keyword Christchurch so I can spot the text nice and easily. And my producer, Nats Levy, can pick one out and you can be the winner. All right, thank you so much. Hey, by the way, are you still sailing or have you given that all away?
No, we still have the boat. The boat's in Mexico. It's there because of COVID, because we didn't get it back to New Zealand before COVID shut us all down. But I'm currently in Dunedin with my daughters. And we do still have the boat. Yep, we're still sailors.
When you're standing on dry land, having lived on water for 20 years, do you find it remarkably boring?
No, not at all, because this is completely new for us. For my kids, this is like a whole new world they're living in, walking around on dry land, going to school. It's a whole new ball game.
Oh, well, literally a ball game. You could kick a ball and not lose it to a shark. I think it's a great thing that you've landed here in New Zealand with your family. And Michelle, I've really enjoyed speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kia ora.
Yeah, kia ora to you. Kia ora tātou. Michelle Elvy there. Writer, editor, manuscript assessor, historian, and epic sailor. There's got to be a book in that alone. How we lost the soccer ball to the Sharks. Things like that. Oh, they're great stories, I can imagine. I've just been signed out of my computer, which is like staring at a black wall. But anyway, I don't need to read what it says there. It says things like, hurry up, the news is coming. Shut up, things like that. This book, which I do have in my hand, the cover is beautiful. The contents are stunning, and it's yours if you text 3920.